Hi, I'm Coach Amber, and welcome to the Revero Success Story Podcast. Today we have a special guest with us, Dan, and he'll be sharing his success with the meat-based diet. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get started. The first question I want to ask you is, what was your life, what was your health like prior to a meat-based diet?
Well, I've been on blood pressure medications for about 10 or 11 years. Every time I'd go back for DOT physical, the doctor would basically up them again. And I was on 4 different medications at about the highest amount that he was willing to go. He said basically if that didn't fix it the last time, he was going to send me to a cardiologist to see if something else was wrong. And I was very overweight. I think the highest weight I saw on the scale was 323 at 5'10". So I was a power lifter for a while. I competed once, but I weighed in at that meet right at 300 pounds. And basically at that point, I didn't care about my weight. I was only interested in lifting as much weight as I could. I didn't care what my body weight was. But I was lethargic. Other than the powerlifting, I didn't really have a whole lot of drive to do anything. My wife had asked me if I wanted to go hiking or, go do pretty much anything. And I was just like, oh, I don't feel like it. Or if I did, then I'd sit down and take a break repeatedly. And yeah, I just didn't have a whole lot of energy. Didn't feel terrible that I was aware of. I mean, I didn't feel great, but I didn't realize how bad I felt until after I stopped feeling that bad.
That is funny you said that, because that is very common, because we kind of start believing that's normal because we're used to it. And it may
Exactly.
not necessarily be, it may be common, but it's not normal.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Is it okay if I cuss? Or I'm trying, I'm trying to behave myself, but yeah, I was actually talking to a friend of mine after I made the post that caught your guys' attention on Facebook. He called me and he had some questions on it because he's driving a flatbed over the road, and he said he feels like shit all the time. He goes to throw his tarps over his load and he just doesn't have the energy to do it. And I told him, I said, it's crazy. It's good that you realize you feel like shit, because I didn't even realize it. And it's amazing how when you start feeling better, you got so used to feeling like shit that was your new normal. You didn't realize you felt that bad. And so, like I said, I got to feeling better, and I'm like, wow, this is a whole different world.
it really is. Okay, so when you first started, how did you implement the diet? Like, what were you eating? What's a typical day like for you? What did you include? What did you not include? And did you have any transitional issues like fatigue or constipation, diarrhea, those kind of things?
Well, what really, I was kind of, I had done keto before when I was driving the truck over the road for FedEx Ground, and we were team driving. So basically the truck was always moving. So the only food you had was what you took with you or what you got at a truck stop, which is generally terrible. But I did have some success with keto while I was doing that, because it was easier to stick to, because all I took was food that fit into that diet. But other than that, it got really hard to actually stick to when I wasn't team driving over the road anymore. And so I was kind of trying to do keto, but I'd fall off pretty regularly. And I was talking to a friend about it, and he told me, well, have you tried the carnivore diet? And I said, no, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it. And so I got an audio book on it, and I listened to that on the way home on the next day, and it made sense to me. So I was like, well, I think I'll try this. And I started doing it like 2 days later, and I really haven't had much trouble at all sticking to it. It's just, I mean, I've always loved meat. I'd love to go back in time and tell my mom, you know, all those times you forced me to eat my veggies? I told you, I knew what I wanted. But really, I just went to, you know, meat and a little bit of dairy, eggs, you know, basically for the dairy, just cheese and butter. Didn't really have a hard time sticking to it. It's honestly the easiest diet I've ever stuck to. And maybe it's because I'm not seeing it as a diet, just more as a way of eating or a way of life. But the weight just started falling off. I was at home for 19 days and I lost 18 pounds without doing any exercise, or, you know, very minimal. And that continued. I wasn't, you know, I was working, which I have some physical activity in my job, but I wasn't working out or doing anything on even a semi-regular basis. And I continued losing weight up until I'd lost about 40, maybe 50 pounds. And then it started kind of, you know, stalling out. I'd hit little plateaus where it'd stay the same, you know, fluctuate a couple pounds for 4 or 5 days. And then all of a sudden 2 or 3 more pounds would fall off. But when it started doing that, then I started working out and, you know, got to where I was working out every day and then twice a day, every other day. But I feel so much better. And I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It's like, it's just incredible the way I feel and how easy it was. You know, like I think everybody I've seen online that talks about it, there was a little bit of diarrhea at the beginning. You know, you have that little bit of adjustment, and then, but other than that, I mean, I feel great.
That's awesome.
You know, I don't have any digestive issues now at all, and I eat mainly beef, some pork, eggs, and usually the eggs I eat are from our chickens. You know, I eat fresh eggs, not store-bought, at least not any more than I have to. You know, if our chickens are slacking off, then sometimes we'll go buy a dozen or so, but we always get the pasture-fed, or pasture-raised ones. But yeah, I really, like I said, it's the easiest diet I've ever done. It was just so easy to make that transition. And actually, when I first started it, I was doing basically, you know, all meats, dairy, eggs. And then I decided, okay, well, let's go ahead and do an elimination. And so for 30 days, I cut out coffee. I cut out alcohol, which I do occasionally have, although I'm not doing it right now, but I'll get back into that in a minute. I did a 30-day elimination where I had beef, salt, and water. That's it. I had no eggs. I had cheese once. Yeah, that's it. Just beef, salt, and water. And I felt great. And then I slowly started adding things back in, you know, because I figured that way, if I start feeling like shit, I'm going to notice it. And I'm going to know what did it. So I can not eat that anymore.
Yeah, that's a good plan. That's a really good plan. Okay, so now you talked a little bit about the weight loss, but what other improvements did you notice after you started eating more of a meat-based diet?
Oh, all kinds. I mean, really, right about the time, I can't remember if it was right before or right after I started, I was having a lot of pain in my knee and in my shoulder. And I actually went to the doctor and I asked him, can I get a cortisone shot in my knee and in my shoulder so that I can work out? I was like, I want to work out. I want to lose weight. I want to start feeling better, but I can't do it because my knee hurts. So I got the shot, and that was, what, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, and it hasn't come back. I'm pretty sure cortisone shots don't last that long. my energy levels compared to before are through the roof. My wife has said it's not just, the working out, not just the weight loss, but everything. I have energy. I help, um, picking up the house, doing the dishes to her standards. My wife is OCD. She's definitely, she's a clean freak, and I don't know if it's possible for me to get things clean to her level, but she has definitely noticed a difference. Whereas before I didn't feel like it. I really half-ass it if I did. And now I just voluntarily help. And so that's relieved a lot of stress in that part of life. I've actually got comments from people at work that I feel, or I seem to be so much more engaged in everything, and, really taking part in everything that's going on. And it's like, well, I'm up to 85 pounds that I've lost now. It's a lot easier to do everything when you're carrying around 85 less pounds. So yeah, it's just, sorry, I think I forgot the entirety of that question, but yeah, that's, I feel better. I'm in a lot less pain. I have a lot more energy. My doctor actually cut all of my blood pressure medicines in half, and I had to buy new work boots because all the swelling and inflammation and weight loss combined, my feet were just slopping around in my old work boots, even with inserts in them. So
That's amazing. That is so great. Well, Dan, thank you so much for sharing your story and coming on the podcast. It's a great story. I love hearing that.
yeah, I'm glad to share it. I'm not a big public speaking guy, but I was kind of debating whether or not to do it, and I got to talking to my wife and my in-laws, and they were like, you know what, you really need to go share this.
And aren't you glad you did? See?
I am.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much, Dan, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye.